What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to date your Patagonia vintage pieces. It's been a while since I've done a Patagonia video. A lot of you know me from my vintage Patagonia collection vid. It's got a lot of views, that one, so if you want to watch it and you want to see my whole collection, go check it out. I'll put a link down in the description. But this video is much more specific. This video is going to be strictly about showing you how to put a date to your vintage Patagonia pieces. A little bit about me. I am Drew Heifetz, the owner of F as in Frank Vintage and Frankie Collective, and I am an avid Patagonia collector. Why? Because I like the brand and I like what it stands for, and I like the American history that it represents. It is super, super cool. Okay? If you want to know more about why I like it, go watch the collection video, but that's not what this is about. This is about teaching you how to put a date to your vintage Patagonia. Okay? For the longest time, I did not know this, and I really had to kind of guess by the tagging and the look and all that shit to figure out how old or what year the Patagonia I had was from. But like most tips and tricks, one of my good friends, one of my Japanese clients put me on. And I'm going to put you on, okay? Obviously, Patagonia, smart people, at some point, probably about 10 or 15 years into the clothing production of the company, they decided we need to put a code on the pieces. You know, we're not going anywhere. We're doing well. We've been in the game for 10 or 15 years now. Let's put the date on the clothing. It's a little tricky to find, but I'm going to show you how. So they basically started to put the RN date codes on the clothing so that they could look back, so that people could figure it out, and you knew when it was from. Because, you know, like all good functional companies, basically there's lots of garments that they make for years and years and years and continue to make. So it's good to be able to date it, because like the design doesn't change, and that goes to show you good clothing production. If you make something and it works, don't change it. Why? What's the point? It's, you know, you've already created something that's close to perfect. So like, you know, for example, I have in this pile a bunch of snap tees. It is the most recognizable fleece garment on the planet. It's been made, I don't know the year it started, but I'm guessing mid-80s, and it's still made today. So that is 40 years. This garment has been in production. 40 years. That is crazy. That garment has been in production almost as long as I've been alive. And it is changed very little. Colors maybe, prints maybe changed, but the garment hasn't changed much at all. Okay, anyway, how to date your stuff, okay? Here's a really cool freaking blingin' bright fleece, okay? Probably guess what era this is from just because of the look of it, but if you really want to figure it out, you got to get into the side seam tag. People hit me up all the time asking me, what year is this piece from? What year is this piece from? And now I don't have to answer those DMs anymore, because you can just watch this video. So there's this little tag. It's this little tag here, okay? This one says F9, okay? F9. Now, there's F and S. F is for fall, and S is for spring. Okay, so that's an F9, okay? There is some nuances with this shit. So this is actually from 89, okay? This is a 1989 super day glow, sick-ass purple green fleece, okay? I have another one here that is also a really cool color. I'll find that tag on the inside seam. It's on the inside right hand side seam typically, and this is S1, okay? This is S1. You can see that right there. I'll give you better close-ups of the tag. So this is spring 91. S1 is spring 91. Okay, I got a jacket here again. Oh no, I said that wrong. It's actually in the left-hand seam. It's in the left-hand seam when you're wearing it. This is F9 again, so that's fall. 89, fall 89. I'm wearing this poncho parka. I love this style. This is let me double check for you guys. Left seam, here we go. This is a spring 95, okay? Spring 95. Okay, so here we have a deep pile, gray deep pile, Retro X, I believe this is called. This one's a bit different because it's more modern, okay? So this one, it's in the style number there. I'll get a better picture of that. It's F9, but this is actually fall 99. These weren't made in the 80s, so this is not 89, this is fall 99. And how you can tell is because this crazy tag that's a lot different than the side seam tag. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, so this is F8. This is F8, fall 88. I have another. This is the snap tee, in case you didn't know what I was talking about. This style fleece is a snap tee. You've all seen it before. If you haven't seen it, you must not live around many people. Fall 95. And yeah, that's basically it. You get to see it through that code on the side seam. This is, and then, okay, here's where the difference is. So this one, this is fall 96. And it actually says 96. That F5, 95, says F5, okay? This is where it gets a little bit tricky, okay? So, again, this is just what I've deduced from seeing enough of these tags, okay? Mid to late 80s, I think around like 87, 86, they started coding the product, okay? So for those first bunch of years, they probably were like, we don't need to put, you know, like we're just going to put F8 for 88 or F9 for 89 or, you know, S1 for 1991. But once they hit like 1995, they're like, shit, well, now we got 10 years of doing these codes. We have to put 95, 96 so that we can differentiate from these earlier ones. But again, there's still some discrepancies in there because like that one I showed you, you can tell from the different kind of tag, but that's 99 with F9, okay? But for the most part, I believe 1995 was when they started to put 95 versus just the number 5, okay? So from 86, 87 to 95, it's a single digit. From 95 to 2000 and to current, basically, most of the time they put double digits so we know what the actual year is, okay? That's the real confusing part, okay? And then a lot of those tags are worn out, guys. You're going to get a lot of these garments that have worn out tags. And how do you tell the age of your garment if it has the worn out coded side seam tag? There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. You got to figure out all the different kind of main tags. Okay, I'll show you one. Okay, so this is an 80s blue reverse pile. Okay, guys? Deep pile, reverse pile. So the fleece is on the inside, not the outside. The early 80s and 70s fleeces were like this. This is the 80s tag on the deep pile, okay? And I can show you the 70s tag. I can show you the 90s tags, the later 80s tags. There's lots to learn. If you want to know, get all the tag knowledge, I'm going to put all that stuff on my Patreon account. I have a podcast. You guys should go listen. It's on this YouTube channel. Go listen to the podcast. I interview tons of vintage people. Because of that, I have a Patreon, and I share lots of great knowledge on there. I put exclusive Patreon content, podcast content on there. Whenever I learn something new about garments or dating garments or figuring out vintage or what's worth money, I put it on the Patreon. I'm going to do I'm going to put resources to all the information I know about Patagonia on the Patreon. You can sign up for $5 a month, and I'm updating it weekly, okay? I'm putting new stuff on there weekly. And you support me, and I appreciate it. It allows me to make all these videos and help everybody in the vintage community because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it, but it does take a lot of time. So that's it. Hope you learned something from this video. If there's specific things about Patagonia you want to know, let me know, and I will try to do videos on it. I have so much Patagonia product, and I want to show you, like, look, I didn't even get through all this. Like, this is more fleeces here. I have boxes and boxes in the back of interesting Patagonia stuff. I'm going to do more Patagonia Collection videos and show you guys interesting pieces, maybe break it down by category so it's a little more digestible than a massive half-an-hour long collection vid. That's it. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. If you want to learn more about dating your Patagonia, get on the Patreon. Link is in the description down below.